But obviously we have to start today to talk about the football. Wasn't it brilliant? Yes, it has come home again. Yeah. Yeah, last night the Lionesses lifted the 2025 Women's Euro trophy after a nail-biting game against Spain. The team managed to retain their Euros title after that dramatic 3-1 penalty shootout after a 1-1 draw. Now, the Lionesses now become the first senior England team, men or women, to win 2 consecutive European championships, both under the management of Sarina Wiegman. Now, many football fans are now actually calling for her to manage the men's team. I mean, it was... Yes. I mean, I was so thrilled for them. It was nail-biting. I was on the... I mean, I hate penalties. I say I hate penalties, but when then it happens and you win by penalties, it's so exciting. Will you watch, I'm presuming, Football House, Football Husband? Yes.
Well, I was working, so I kind of got back halfway through. And what I loved when I walked in is we had a house full of kids yesterday, and they were all just crowded around the sofa, all crowded around the TV, all cheering and, like, you know, holding their breath for the penalties. And it was so nice to see. I think, like, just having boys, I assumed that they maybe wouldn't be into the women's football. So I just love that they're just as excited by it and just as proud that we've won.
Yeah, but that is... I mean, it was... You know, I think each time the Lionesses play and they win, they're creating history, Myra. Yeah. They're changing the face of football.
Absolutely, and I think it's so insulting that they think that the kind of upgrade would be for Sarina Wiegman to manage the men's team, as though there's still this kind of huge divide between them.
Maybe they just sort them out.
Do you know what I mean? No, you can't nick her. The ladies have got her. But I think it's quite interesting as well. Listen, I know very little about football. I watched the first bit of it and then I had to go on the train. So I'm not pretending, otherwise my son will phone in and expose me as a fraud. But I did go and see that play, Dear England, with Dan, which was all about the, you know, about Gareth Southgate and how he brought the England team closer than they've been in, you know, decades to a win and everything. And I was quite interested that it's very much the same sort of philosophy. It's that idea of, you know, making people vulnerable, letting them talk to each other.
Well, these are her, this is her kind of management technique, Brenda, because they're saying that the players are saying that she very much encourages them to talk about any problems they have, to talk about vulnerabilities, to share with the other women. Yeah. And it's interesting because we obviously do that all the time. Yeah. And I think women generally do that all the time. You know, in every kitchen up and down the land, there are people having a cup of tea with a mate, telling them something, you know, sharing a vulnerability. This has happened, I'm a bit worried about the kids, worried about work. Do you think that's a good way of encouraging a team?
Absolutely. I mean, it's all on the football pitch, it's all about teamwork, and communication is key, which I think they've proved greatly in comparison to maybe the men's team. And I think that the men will obviously be learning quite a lot on that side. But I think it's the same with any relationship that you have as well. Communication is key and teamwork is key. If you pull together, then you reach that common goal, if you pardon the pun. But it's you know, it's very important in any relationship, but especially in a game of football.
Yeah, I mean, one of the players, Beth Mead, Frankie, said, I think we've made ourselves very vulnerable. I think that gives us much more togetherness, actually, so
but
much
that's
more
exactly what I'm talking about in terms of, you know, that twice that's worked. In fact, maybe it's a sort of philosophy that we should employ in a wider context. You know, there's a few conflicts going on at the moment where people could do with sort of stepping down from their grandstanding and actually just talk as human beings. And I do think that the philosophy that both those managers have had seems to really, really work. And I think the idea, maybe it's just a more modern way of approaching winning as well, that it's not this macho, you get out there and you win, and if you don't win, then you're rubbish and we're going to vilify you.
I thought that was interesting, Frankie, saying vulnerabilities. I think vulnerability can actually be a strength, to show your vulnerability, which we know you do. You've talked about mental health very openly, which must be scary when you first do it, but then did it give you a strength?
Yeah, 100%. And I think it brings people together in the same way that, you know, I'll meet people and they'll say to me, oh, you've really helped me through moment in time or whatever in life, and actually they do the same for me. By me sharing it, it makes me feel less alone. So I think you can put it into all different parts of your life, like you were saying, but I think for them for me it's like the same with friends. It makes me trust them. That to me is a real friend. They trust me with their stories and I trust them with mine, and I can see how that works on the pitch. It's, you know, you're not just there all to win, you're all there, you trust each other, in the game and in person, and I think that's how the world goes round.
It was nail-biting, but it was, you know, the right result. It was amazing. Lionesses, congratulations. Fantastic result.